We can do better.
Ciao, buongiorno, Discoradio. This is Matt Simons here.
We can do better. If nothing lasts forever, we can do better. Things can get rough.
So, I started playing piano and saxophone. I played some classical music and studied a lot of jazz. It's really easy to jump from, say, jazz music to rock and roll or jazz music to pop, but it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily work the other way. There's a whole language of jazz that you have to learn before you can sort of play that music. And it's interesting that, a lot of today's popular music actually comes from jazz, which of course comes from classical. So, it made sense to sort of study those two things first.
We can do better. Oh yeah, we can do better. If nothing lasts forever.
We Can Do Better was inspired by my marriage, and I was having a discussion with the other writers. The names are Emily Warren and Scott Harris, who are great pop songwriters. We were talking about how it seems that young people don't really want to get married anymore. I think there's been a lot of bad examples set for the younger generation about marriage. I think a lot of people grew up with broken homes. They see a lot of divorce, and all the examples in movies and TV shows about marriage are that, is that it's terrible. So that's not necessarily a great message to send to young people if you want them to also get married. So, we thought maybe we could write an anthem about marriage for me and my now wife. We got married recently, and, in hopes that we could do better. I think I didn't write a song that I was proud of until I was about 20 years old. And I had probably written about 50 or 60 songs at that point, and they were all bad. I guess it was when I started to learn the language of jazz and all the new harmonic options that came along with it that I started to see, like, okay, maybe I have something to say in this business, in songwriting. I think optimism is one of the only things we have left at this point. I think it's important to remind ourselves that we can still be optimistic. It's okay to be happy. You're not a weak person for feeling positive feelings and for trying to make other people feel good.
And I'll be close behind. We'll follow you into the dark.
I think it's important when you're covering something to keep the spirit of the song, but also add your own personal touch. What I did with that Death Cab for Cutie tune is I changed up the chords completely. The original is sort of this happy, upbeat song, but with really, really sad lyrics and really heartbreaking lyrics. I wanted to more highlight the sort of darkness of the inherent darkness of the song.
If there's no
So I did collaborate with an Italian artist by the name of Marco Mengoni, who's a wonderful singer and songwriter. So I wrote a song called Light in You a few years ago, and somehow it made its way into Marco Mengoni's team, and they ended up translating it into Italian and making this beautiful Italian version called Adocchise, I think, Adocchise tu, I think is what it's called, with eyes closed, I think is the translation. I can't remember, but it's so cool to have one of my songs that I know in English, to hear it in Italian from, a voice like Marco's, who's such an emotional singer, and it's an emotional song. So I'm very, very proud of that. I hope to see you guys very, very soon. Thank you so much. Cheers.
follow you to the dark.